Hey everyone, let me see if I am audible because then we can start. Okay, my settings are saying I am good to go. Alright, and today we didn't face any issues till now. So let's hope so. Things continue well. Just see. Now, many will ask, right, how it is very easily to fill down these values and why should we consider it making it dynamic and why there if there is power query why do we even need filling down the values so that stuff I always uh, come with and many people have arguments, I know that. So we I will tell you the problems which I recently faced and how can we make things dynamic so that if you are doing it for daily you don't face these challenges. And I'm not going to share more about the Power Query stuff because am planning one more session particularly on importing data. But for the time being, you can see that okay, this technique will work because when I will be sharing about Power Query, it will again take like very long time to share the trick. So before that, let me share you something. So if this was just one table, so what could have happened is seriously, I will be going here Control G, Alter S, and then here come two blanks. Okay, and here that's it. My values have been filled down, right? And if it was in Power Query, what might have happened was I could have imported the data into, I could have made this range into table and then imported the data and then filled down the values. Not a problem. But what might happen if I've got hundreds of seats, okay, and the data is not in a table format? So what might have happened? So let me share you. If these things are there, okay, I have taken only three seats. So I have to now go one by one seat and then use this trick 100 times. And then you can say, consolidate the data, right? Or otherwise, you will say, Aditya, let's go into Power Query. And what will happen is if I'm going to directly go there, go to Power Query, you will see here from table or range. So it means that I have to create a table and because my data is just lying around on the seat and it is not in a table format, I have to go here one by one seat and create tables. So that is not a good idea, right? So that's why I thought, okay, let's make, and then you will feel okay. What we can do is we can do something with the custom lambda functions so that next time if we face these issues, we can quickly get our desired data without like doing so many complications, right? So what we can do, so before going like I have shared with the problem with you guys, but before going to directly show you this picture, what we are going to do see is what can we do to fill down the values quickly, to fill down or fill up the values. So what we can do here, so just see, normally I am going for one column only right now, and you can see here if my original trick was just simply Control G, Alter S, K, and that's it. So this was one of the ways you can do fill down. And what if you are not going to fill down, you are going for fill up. So that's it. That is again easy. Control Z, Alter S, K, and now select the below cell. Okay, and yeah, you can see now the values are filled up. So this is one very simple trick. And normally, if I'm just working for one-time data or like not much automation where I don't need not much automation, then I simply use this trick as well. But uh, if we are going to make it dynamic, what we can do now? So just see here, there is one function that is a scan function. So what it will do, it will loop and it will accumulate the data. So what can I do is I can use the scan function. So initial value, I don't need it. Then I'm going for empty string. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this whole range and then I am writing if one second, these are my parameters. If my current value, so instead of writing this way, let me write this way, state current. So if my current value, okay, if my current value is equals to blank, then give me the previous value, that is my state, or otherwise give me the current value only. So that's it. One second. The moment you see that, you can see I have got the data which I needed. Okay. So this is one of the ways you can say you can quickly do the filling down. Okay. So that's one of the ways. And now how can we do the fill up? Okay. So again, we can use the scan function. The only thing is that I need to reverse these items. Okay. So let me show you this, what we can do. Let me come here and I will do something like sequence. So sequence of how many rows are there. So these many rows are there in my data set. Okay, so I have got 20 rows, and then what can I do is I am going to reverse these rows. So I am coming here. Here I am going to use the sort by function. And what can we do now? I'm selecting this because these are in ascending order. All I have to do is in the descending order. Got it? Now you can see here the rows are, you can say reversed. Okay. And now what we can do is we can use the scan function. So what I'm going to do is just simply wait for a few minutes, because what is happening is that by default what Excel will do is if I'm going you can see here zeros, right? So these are actually not zeros but actually blanks. Okay. So let me show you what I mean. So if I'm going here and let's say it's blank, you can see here, right? I'm getting true. But if I'm coming here and then writing here is blank, it will say false. Okay, the reason being is that behind the scenes this is a blank, but when Excel is giving the output, it is showing me zero. Okay, so we can use this behavior. So again I am going to use this function only, what I've done here. I can copy paste and then simply make it this way, and you can see now it will not come. Okay, it will not come, we will see in a minute. So this is fill down, and then finally what we are going to do is we are going to again reverse the rows. So sort by function again, this is my array, and then again the descending order, and you can see now I have got it. But wait a second. Okay, you will be saying, Aditya, we haven't got our fill down values. So let me show you. If I build the let statement, now I am generating the let statement, and just see. Okay, we are good to go. Yeah, so you can see now I've got my filled up values, right? So that's what I mean. So behind the scenes it is a blank value, and because it is a blank value, I have not made any changes to zero. Okay, so now what can I do is let me copy this whole thing. Yeah, so I have got fill up values. Okay, so this is one of the ways you can use the scan function to fill down the values and fill up the values. Okay, we will see the problems more and more, how it can create problems when we are working for more than one column. But for only one column, it is easy to go. Now let me share with you one more trick. Let's just say this way. So I will go one by one row, B4 to B4. Okay, and let me fix this row. First one. So yeah, you can see here, right? I am getting zero. So now what can I do is, because I am getting zero, I am going to use this function, two column function, and then I am going to ignore my blanks. Okay. The moment I do that, okay, my blanks are ignored, so we are good to go. All right, this is not a problem. But here comes problem, because what will happen is, as we have discussed in our previous sessions on the Sunday gaming learning on lambdas, you can see that our current Excel feature is limited in a way that it doesn't allow nested arrays. Okay, and what will happen is I cannot provide two values here. So because the moment I provide two values here, it will show me an error. Okay, so that's the way. So what I need to do is I need to fetch the last value here. Okay, so what can I do here now? I can come here, use the take function, and take the last value here. That's it. The moment you see here, I've got the way I wanted my data, right? You can see here, this is equivalent to how I fill down the values. So what can I do now? Because I want to make it spillable, I'm going to use one of my favorite techniques with the map function. So what I'm going to do here, just see, let's come here, the map function, and I'm going to select this whole row, and let's just say I'm going to write just simply the lambda a, okay, and a. Now you will see here, you will think Aditya, okay, because this is an array, so this value must have been an array, right? This parameter a, because what is a is the current context. Okay, let me highlight it as well. So what does a holds? So a is holding the current context here. A is holding the current context here. Okay. So one by one A, we are holding the values here. So what we can do now? Any idea? We can test it if it is a range or if it is an array. So what am I going to do is I'm simply going to write it in as array, the raw function, because raw function takes the reference. So what I'm going to do, just see here, it is giving me the row. Okay. But let's say if I'm going to go here and type the raw function, you will see here I am getting an error. The reason being is it is an array, not a range. So that's what we can use now, because it is a range. So what we can do is we can use the semicolon trick now. So that what I was saying you. So what can I do is just see here. I'm just selecting the first cell and then just write the A column here. Okay. So it is saying me a error. The reason being is error contains range. Okay, we do not understand that. Aditya, what it means. So let me do something. I'm going for array to text. Okay. The moment you see that array to text, you will get the idea. Okay. That in the last row, I am getting all the values, and that's why we cannot take, you can say, the ranges here, because it will give me a nested array problem. That's the issue. So what I'm going to do is going to use this trick here. Okay, the function which we made here. So coming here, one second, right? And what I'm simply going for, B4 and A. Okay. Now you can see here, I've got the trick ready. I have filled down my values. But one of the problems which you will see is you need to tell the user to select the first column. Okay. So he will be ending up using selecting two values, but I don't want to do that. So what we can do is take function also give me a reference. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go for take function. I'm going to select this whole range and then just selecting the first row, first column, and that's it. The moment I do that, it is going to give me the same answer and not a problem, because what will happen is when you will see here, take function will take the first cell and I am going to reference it and loop it again and again. Okay, so it will reference the first cell only, that is B4. So that's the thing. And if you don't understand that what I mean, let's try it this way. Take function, I am selecting this wall column and then I am writing this way. Okay. And what we can do is we can use a cell function here. And here I am going to say, let's just say simply the address. And because we can test it now here as well, if this is an reference or it is an array material. So the moment I press here, you can see here, I am getting the reference here. So it means it holds the value true. Okay. In a way, you can say that mm, you can say that it is holding it as an range format and not just an array format. So that's the trick we can use. And if you are going to, let's say, simply, let me copy paste it here, right? So what we can do now. So because I now want to go for filling up values, so what can I do now? I can come here and select the last value, and that's it. One second. Okay, not this one, but this one. Okay. Now you can see here. Hmm, let me see where I made the mistake. Okay, so I want my first value. That's it. So I need to change only these two parameters. Okay. So what will happen is it is now selecting the last value. Let me tell you the logic here. So now it is not selecting this value. What I'm going to do here, I am saying that don't make this one as B23. Let me directly do this way. Yeah, that's it. Now you can see here, the moment I drag up, you can see I am getting errors. Okay. So what can I do here? I can do two column value first, to ignore the blank and take the first value. So take function and the first value. So that's it. Now I can do this way, and that's the logic behind the scenes in this function. So that's how you can use the map function again. And the only thing you need to now remember is that the scan function will work here, obviously, even when it is an array format, but this function will only work when we have got a range. And if it is an if my array is not an range format, then it will give me an error. So that's the limitation with it. I will show you one more trick here. How can we fill up and down? But this thing will only be limited to only one column and not multi columns. So let me share you what I mean. So again, we are going to generate a sequence. Okay. So sequence, rows, and you can see here, I've got my columns here. Okay. Now what I'm going to do here, filter sequence. And I'm going to filter these sequences when this is a blank. Okay. This is not a blank. Wait a second. Not is blank. You can see that these rows number are there where there is no blank. And now what can I do is not blanks again. And I'm going for, wait a second, two column this way and just ignoring the blanks. Okay. So now you can see here, I've got this data. And now what can I do here? I can use the XLOOKUP function. XLOOKUP function. I'm going to select all these rows and here filter sequence and not blanks. Okay. And then what we can do here, match mode. This is the way we can do fill down. And if you don't feel like filling down but fill up, then what we can do is just make it the large item and that's it. The moment you do that, you can say that it will automatically fill up. Okay. So that's the way you can use the XLOOKUP function. And all we need to now do is make it in let statement and that's it. My formula is good to go. Right. So that's how we can use for one column and we will come back to multi-column in a minute. Okay. So these are some of the ways you can use, you can say that filling up and filling down, but it doesn't solve the problem. Okay. The only thing now you can get the idea. If I'm going to fetch these values, they won't remain in a range format. Okay. So what we need to figure it out is we need to learn something that it also applies the filling down also applies to arrays as well. So I'm not asking the question, but yeah, try to think. We have solved it with three problems, right? Three ways. So which one we can use it in our day to day life so that it works on a single cell, on a range, and at the same time on an array as well. So we will see it out. So what we can do now, I'm going to copy this whole formula of the scan function, and in the multi-column, what we again can do here is that, okay, now we are switching to the multi-column, and in the multi-column, what we can again do is simply this way, okay, and Control Z, Alt S. I'm just going with the filling down values only right now, okay. So we can do that, and in 1 second, your wall columns will fill down. Okay, so that's the whole idea. But what will happen if we are going to use a scan function? I'm coming here, I'm selecting all my columns, and you will see here something odd, right? So what is happening here? The reason is that scan function actually loops when you are providing more than one column or more than one row, how it will do. So first it will go here, then it will go here, then it will go here, and finally the last column. Okay. Then it will come here for the second row and it will start here 5, 6, 7, and 8. So that's how scan function works. So it doesn't make sense to me right now because the reason being is I am not going for filling right, but filling down. Okay, so what we can do now here? So there is a simple trick here. What we can do now? I can use the transpose function, and then again switching to transpose function. Just here, I've got the values which I needed. So we can use this trick. But at the same time, you know the limitation, right? What will happen if I'm going to use this trick? The problem it will create is that I will be limited to transposing to the number of columns I have, and they are very very less compared to the rows of data we can have. So these are only 16,000 rows, but my row 16,000 columns only, sorry. But if my rows are more than that, then it will start creating problems. Okay, so we cannot use that trick, right? So what we can do now? So we can use something this trick as well. So last time we used this one, right? We can use this trick. Okay, and what I'm going to do here, I'm going to select all the columns. All right, and now you can see here I've got the result which I wanted. So this trick works. All right, but the limitation only is that yeah, 1 second, I should specify this as well, -1. Okay, so you can do that if you are not filling down. If you are just filling down, then it will work. But let's say if you wanted to fill up, then what you can do here, you can come here -1, the last row, and my present row, if I'm correct. Okay, it's not working. I don't know, but yeah, I haven't tried that. But yeah, you can tweak the values here or there, and you will figure it out. Okay, so that's the main idea. But this function works. Okay, our previous function work. The only limitation we can face is that if our data is not in a range format, and that's what I told you. And again, one of my mistake is that actually didn't tell you the reason behind the scenes what happened with me recently. So actually what happened was I was working on a tele data set, and what happens is that in the tele data set normally your invoices comes in this format. If you have multiple items they will be spilling, but they want you can say that they want provide the details of invoices, date and invoices again and again. And it is a classic normal scenario when we are working on this type of data set. So that's the thing. So you can actually use this trick. All right. And this thing will not work properly because we have got the columns limitation, and this trick won't work when we have got an array. So is there an approach what we can do now? Actually, I wanted to share a few tricks, but the thing was that it isn't working right now, and I don't know what was the issue. So what I thought was, let's go something in this way. So if you can see here, if I'm going for v-staking here, let's see, I'm going for trim range. I recently got this function, and I'm selecting this wall column here directly from the right. And what can I do is I can do stop row trimming and everything. So you can see here, I've got the data which I wanted. Let me remove this much. So I've got the data, okay. But what happens is that if I'm going for 3D referencing, you can see here, if I'm going for 3D referencing, okay, let me see how much is my data. And then I am going for vstack function. One second, not only the B1 to B1, but this wall column. You will see here I am getting an error. But if I remove this trim range function, okay, and instead of going here, I'm going for B3 to E100. You can see here I'm getting the data. So trim range actually doesn't work when it comes to you can say the 3D referencing, but vstack function works. Okay, and the output is that if I'm going to provide the raw function here, you will see here I will get an error. One second. Okay, this function is not working. The reason being is that it is an array. So that's a problem here. So what we can do now? All right. So what we can figure out it a way. So that's why because this is an array, so I cannot use this function here, the method to part, and this won't make sense if I have got more than 16,000 rows. So what we can do? We can use the recursion now. Okay. When what we can do is we can use the recursion or cumulative iteration. So I'm not going for going for recursion right now. We can use the reduce function here. So what will happen is I will tell you one by one step. Let's just say here I'm removing this wall range. Okay, I'm just selecting this data right now and then removing this one. Yeah, so you can now see here it is working properly, right? And if I'm going to drag right now, it is also working. And if I'm going to drag again right, it is again working here. And again last one, I can work here. Okay. So you can now see what is going to happen is that I want to iterate in a way that this function applies every time. All right. And it will spill my arrays. Okay. It will spill my one by one column again and again. So what can I do? So you can see here, I've selected my first column, right? One second. I've selected my first column, right? So what can I do here? Just see here. Index, or we can use even the map function, but yeah, the choose columns function as well. So, but I'm going with the index function right now. Index. I don't want any row, all the rows and the first column. All right. And you can now see here I've got. And let me reference it here for the time being. And this is my first column. If I'm going for the second column, you will see here I've got the second column. So I want to figure out in a way that it goes one by one column. So what can I do now? So what I'm going to do here is that let me make only this one range here for the time being, and I am going to make it a function. So save lambda. I'm going to create a lambda here. I'm just saying array. Okay. And we are good to go. I'm making the lambda name is fill down one column, and that's it. Now you can see here I've got my one by one column and it will work properly every time. So now what can I do? Because this function is going to apply here, I'm going to use the reduce function. Okay. And I'm going for sequences. Sequence of the number of columns here. Just see. And then because this is a function, I'm going for lambda a b. And here I'm coming for the index portion, which is my data. This is my data here. And then all the rows, and which will be my column name, it will be my b. Okay. So yeah, now you can see here. All right, this is again a bug, but yeah, you can see here I have got this column only. All right, let me paste the formatting so that you will understand. If I come here and paste this formula, you can see here I've got this result. Okay, so again want to do something like that. It takes my result from my previous iteration. Okay, so what can I do here now? I can use the hstack function and then the previous value, and we are good to go. I'm going to copy this value wall column here, right? Now you can see here I have got the result, but this is an additional column I am getting. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to drop my first column, and that's it. The moment you do that, okay, you can see that I've got the result which I wanted. And now this function can be used for just more than one column. Okay. So that's what I meant. And reduce is one of the ways you can say like list accumulate in Power Query. So we can accumulate the results as well. So now what am I going to do here? I'm coming here, save my lambda, and I'm renaming it to array, or you can say directly the data properly, and then just writing it as fill down function. Yeah, so not a problem. Yeah, I think I already made the functions, not a problem. So now what can I do here? I can come here and let's just start here. Okay, so this was my data which I wanted. And now what I want to do is let's just say this is my simply the stacking data, all data you can say. And now what I'm going to do here simply is that I'm going to filter. And now right now you can see here 000. So what I'm going to do here is that I'm going to use by row column function, by row actually, by row function, and then I will say something like this way is blank. Okay, and end function, and I am going to write it as not, because I don't want the uh, I only want the values which are either of the columns are filled. Okay, so now what can I do here? Because it doesn't make sense right now, I will do is I will quickly generate the let statement so that you can understand what I mean. Wait a second. Okay, it won't work properly. Yeah, right now OA robot doesn't support the 3D references. That's what I feel. So here I need to do one by one step. So let us go here. I'm going for this is my data here, and then I'm coming here, and then one second. Okay, I'm coming here, selecting everything. Then I'm going for filter portion. One second. Okay, and I need to change this part as data. Now you can see here, okay, filter portion, my data, and here it will work. Let me show you this way. You can see now. Okay, so I have filtered and kept only the values which have either of the columns I have got. You can say any value. So now what can I do here is that I can come here and let me write the final step return. And now all I am going for is simple one thing, my fill down function. And then what I'm going to do is just simply writing the filter function and my filtered values. The moment I do that, I've got all my filtered values. So this is one of the ways now you can use, you can say you have automatically got all the values directly, okay, by filling down in one go instead of waiting for, you can say Power Query or using that trick. We have now got, you can say, uh, a dynamic function, our own custom function, okay, to get consolidate the data across seats in one go. So that this was one of the things I was excited to share it with you guys, so that you can also build your custom functions in a way and then use it to make your life simpler by automating the data, by automate these simple micro automations. So if you have got any questions, you can ask me right now. If you want to feel like, okay, I did not understand this thing, you can tell me. One of the few plans are there. I want to make a video or directly one of the sessions to explain more about the data types, structured data types into Excel, because many people get confused what is an array and what is a range. So we will figure it out as well. But yeah, these are few of the ways. When you know how functions work, then you can use them in your day-to-day life. Mm. Great, guys. So any question you can ask me in the chat, or and I cannot actually see the comments right now, but I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Okay, I will wait for 1 minute, or otherwise I will stop the stream and then have fun. All right. I don't think you guys got any problems. You can download the files as well. You will see them in the chat, and because this is a live stream, it will be online here, and then I can check out the comments as well. Okay. So have fun, guys, and enjoy and have fun with Excel. Bye bye.